Well, Sage, tell us about the adversity that you went through. You know, you had that arm bar going and the Kimura, and you escaped both of those attempts. What was going through your mind at that point?
Oh, thanks. I knew I was going to get out of both of those. I felt confident. I had very strong tendons and muscles too. So one thing coming into the fight, I decided to cut my weight starting 5 pounds heavier than normal because I figured since I had a whole extra day and a half, well, not a day and a half, but a whole extra almost day to be able to recover from the weight cut, that's what I figured I'd do. So about 4 pounds out from making weight, so from 156 pounds, about 160-ish, I was having a hard time sweating at all. So I was making the weight, no sweat was coming out, so it was a very tough weight cut for me, over 12 hours, up until about 2:30 in the morning, and then getting back up at 4:30 in the morning to be able to make weight again before the weigh-in. So I did my best out there. My heart cardio was great. My muscle cardio just wasn't quite there, the exact same as I know it could be, but I'm not gonna make that mistake again.
You're still young. Could we see you moving up a division soon, considering the weight cut seems to be getting harder and harder for you?
Very possibly, yes. I can make 155, no problem. Normally, it's no problem at all. I just started 5 pounds heavier, so that's what made a tough problem for me this time. But other than that, I'm not going to make that mistake again, and I'm young, so I learn fast.
Do you feel like going through, not just the weight cut, but also, the sub attempts in the fight, do you feel that's made you a better fighter, that you gain that experience, you can bring that to your next fight?
Well, sure, absolutely. Yes, sir. So anytime you go through something new in the octagon, you're always learning. Every time you step foot in the octagon, you're learning. Especially with me, maybe not having as much experience as the other fighters on UFC 200. It's just an awesome opportunity for me to be able to step in the octagon this time.
And were you feeling the nerves in this fight, just with the fact it was UFC 200, pretty monumental, to be on this card?
No nerves. I had a blast out there, and it was fun for me, and I enjoyed the audience and everybody.
Did you feel your work now on your ground game, knowing that maybe opponents are looking at that as somewhere where they can exploit you, where it might be a weakness of yours?
You know, I'm always working on it, so obviously I know I can improve that, and my wrestling, my jiu-jitsu, every little aspect of that, I'm always trying to make better, for sure.
Did you feel the third round was close, Sage? And if so, why do you feel you won the third?
Anytime my opponent was on top of me, Enrique, he didn't really do any damage. So as y'all watch, he never really threw any strikes. He was kind of just holding me. And even if I was on the bottom, I was throwing strikes. When I reversed and I was on top, I was doing the most damage. Standing up on my feet, I did the most damage too, landing the most significant strikes. So I think that had a big part to do with it.
You're used to finishing your opponents. Were you worried at all when it went to the judges' scorecards that maybe the decision wouldn't go your way just with the judges?
No, I wasn't worried at all. I know he had a few moments when he was on top, but other than that, he really didn't do any damage, like I said, so it wasn't a worry in my mind.
Did you feel like, having gone through that fight with Bryan Barberena, losing by submission, that for this fight you kind of were more mentally prepared for a situation like that again on the ground?
Well, that fight didn't really make me more mentally prepared at all. I was very sick for that fight, so the submission, it really wasn't something that would normally get me, if that makes sense. I could barely touch my throat for that fight. That's how bad my strep throat was, much less breathe at all. So I definitely wasn't myself my fight before this.
Where do you see yourself going in the division right now? I mean, how key of a win do you feel that was for you to get maybe a more name opponent next time, to rise the ranks?
We know, not just me, but with anyone, you always want to work your way up. So that's obviously what I want to do, one fight at a time. So I'm not looking ahead saying, hey, I want to fight right now for the title. I want to fight top 10. Obviously not. That would be goofy. So one fight at a time, and just whenever the UFC has the next fight for me, I'll be training and ready.
Kevin Lee beat Jake Matthews, obviously, recently. A lot of people want to see you versus Jake Matthews in Melbourne in November, when that card comes together. Would you be interested in that matchup?
Anybody the UFC pairs me up with, I'll be ready, and they pick my fights for me. And I know, like you mentioned, Jake Matthews, he's a great fighter, and he's definitely got a lot of talent.
Sage, on Friday, as they're getting you ready for the weigh-ins, everyone's kind of lined up before they're going out. As you're in this lineup with all of these big names, I mean, what was it kind of like for you, just seeing all of these bodies? Like, the names on the card, but seeing everyone there, what was that like for you?
Are you kidding me? It was awesome. I got to ride in the same bus with them, so that was cool. Getting to be back there with them, super cool. Even all the guys even the heavyweight guys, like for instance Mark Hunt, he was extremely nice. Everybody that I met seems to be really nice. So even the fighters that might look serious out there, or they go out there and obviously they put on a great performance, they're some of the nicest guys around.
Have you ever was there any of the fighters that you felt kind of starstruck being around?
Anybody that you're around that you haven't met before, that you look up to, and you've grown up watching since you were a little kid, you're obviously going to be starstruck, and you're so excited to meet them, so yes.
Sage, how did you feel about your performance tonight? Were you pleased with it? Did you feel you improved in certain areas?
Yes. I was pleased with my performance. Obviously, I could be better than what I performed out there. I think the weight cut slowed me down just a little bit because I tried to drop the weight 5 pounds, being extra heavy for this fight coming in, just because I figured I had more time to be able to make the weight because I had the early weigh-ins. But I learned from that mistake. So next time, I'm going to be a little bit lighter, come in, make weight, and I know my muscles are going to feel 50 times better.
You mentioned being starstruck. Which fight tonight are you most looking forward to watching, just for yourself?
Oh, I keep peeking over at the screen right now. Try not to, but I want to watch all of them.
All right.
What did you think about Eddie Alvarez's performance the other night, just focusing on your own weight division?
I know a lot of people weren't expecting that, and they put on a great show. So that was an amazing fight, and they're both Eddie Alvarez and his opponent were extremely tough fighters, for sure.
Sage, I'm sure you're familiar about John Jones being pulled out for USADA for what he says was probably a tainted supplement. You post a lot of images of supplements you take. How do you handle that? Not the risk of a bad supplement.
Like the supplements I do from the company called the Broader Nutrition, what they say is in the bottle or in the protein or whatever it might be, it's actually in there. So whatever's on the label, it's in there, and I can trust them. I've been taking their protein shakes and stuff since I was 4 years old. Sounds goofy giving a kid protein shakes and they're 4, but I actually have a picture. My parents took of me holding a lean body protein shake since I was 4 years old. So I know I'm confident with that. I'm sure Mr. Jones, I'm pretty positive he didn't purposely go say, hey, I'm going to go take this or this to enhance my performance. Why would he need to enhance his performance when he's already the best out there and he has the title, or he did have the title. So there's no reason for him to do that.
Is there any plans to take any time off, or are you going to get right back in the gym Monday? What's sort of the post-fight plans for Sage Northcutt?
I love to train. I'm always training super hard, so there's never really any time off for me. I'm obviously having fun, but the training is fun for me, and I'm always learning, so that's definitely fun. So no time off, just fun.
Is the plan to do more training, in different gyms? I know you for this fight, for example, you were at TriStar. You also had the Black Zillions. Is that sort of the plan going forward as well?
Yes, I was at TriStar Gym for about 5 weeks. I ended up catching a staph infection while I was out of town in Canada. So I was hospitalized in the hospital for 6 days straight, and they had IVs pumping in me to try to kill. I had MRSA staph, so you can imagine every 2 hours or so, the staph infection went from this big to a quarter, then a half dollar. It kept getting bigger and bigger and spreading, and it finally went away. It healed up, but I came back home to finish my training and finish up my final exams for school, and then I had summer. So I did go to the Black Zillions for about a week to see my friend Michael Chandler. He's an awesome guy, awesome fighter. He just won the title too, and I had a blast up there.
So you're just going to stay away from Canada then because you don't want to get staph infection?
No, that's not it. That was just a weird thing.
Your game gets a lot of promotional push, right? So do you feel any extra pressure, maybe by fellow fighters, or just to prove yourself and prove that you're actually tough? Do you have that? Is that something that goes through your head when you're fighting?
Not any extra pressure. Proving yourself, I think it's not just me, but I mean, even the people that have the title, they have to prove themselves by going. I mean, they already have proved themselves, but they go out there to prove why they should keep the title, how they can keep the title. So I think every fighter out there has proved themselves every single day.
Wait, back to that staph infection, that seems kind of serious. You kind of just laughed about it, but you're in the hospital, right? I mean,
Yes.
How serious? Was this life-threatening or pulling out the fight? Or
I heard MRSA staph is definitely life-threatening. The way it started increasing so fast, it was very scary. The doctors gave me vancomycin, which was the IV they gave me, and a few other IVs too, and it was definitely scary. The first 2 days when they were giving me the IVs, it kept spreading and spreading, so they weren't sure. I was blessed I didn't have to get anything cut out of my arm. I was obviously praying that I wouldn't have to, because that would be scary, getting a chunk out of your arm. And but they tested it and ended up healing up completely, and obviously I had a lot of people supporting me and praying for me, and it's all healed up. There's not even a mark on me.
So you feel like this next fight, we're going to see the best Sage Northcutt, because last fight you had issues, health issues. This fight you had health issues. Hopefully, fight after, no health issues.
Right, definitely. I think every fight coming up, the next fight, I'm always trying to be my best. So I think next fight will be better. The next fight will be better, and just always improving.
Is there any motivation for a Barberena rematch?
Absolutely, sure. Whoever the UFC gives me, if they want to do a rematch, I'll be glad to do that. If it's 155, if it's 170, sure.